Hi traders, and welcome to the Friday Market Watch on the 22nd of August. So we've seen some pretty dynamic moves on a few of the key markets that we look at each week, and we're starting to see the end of the earnings season start to play a little bit of havoc with some of the pricing. So we'll jump straight into the charts and see if we can identify any trades for today or early into next week. So we'll start out here with the Aussie USD, and we can see that we've basically been in free fall for the last week and a half, dropping from that breakout zone at around that 65.20 all the way down to the very, very close lows of 64 cents. Now, the important thing to remember, and I think it's probably a highlight of what we're talking about today, is making sure that you go through the smaller timeframes when you are doing your analysis, because what you would have noticed in this big drop, although it looks like it would be very difficult to trade, if you go to the smaller timeframes, you're going to see quite a few patterns emerging in terms of how this actually all played out. All the things that we talk about each week, pulling back to the 20 moving average, were prevalent right through the entire drop. And if you go to other time frames that are quite significant, obviously like the 4-hour time frame, you can see here that we've actually had a head and shoulders, and that head and shoulders is a very clean break. You can see the neckline right through here. The break of the neckline happened at around this level here, around the 64.80. The shoulder on the right here was actually at the same place as a moving average crossover, 20 to 50. And of course, the distance between the neckline and the top would have been completely fulfilled with this shot. So you can see here, the neckline would be across that point there. And the projected target for head and shoulders is the high to the neckline. And you can see that that one played out just really nicely there to where current price is right now. So really, really good trading on the Aussie USD, if you're able to catch some of that fall. Where it goes to from here is going to be, dependent on whether this support will hold. Now, it is very, very heavy support at around that 64 cent mark. There's no question about that. So if we can hold the support at this level, we're probably going to look at a bounce up and look to trade up to the moving averages as they come down. But we won't even talk about a break until it actually happens, because that's going to be a very serious breach of a very, very strong support level. But in the interim, we'd be looking for a reversal of movement, and if we see a higher high, higher low sequence on a smaller time frame, we'd look at trading it back up to the moving average in the first instance. We will have a look at the US dollar CAD today, because this looks like it's about to break out good and proper. We saw the breakout candle in the last session. You can see that we've got a 20 and a 50 moving average cross, which is obviously very important, and it was actually holding price up. These sorts of patterns are the ones that we really like to look for. We've got a very heavy support base that we saw way back here at 135.80. Then it shot up to a resistance point, pulled back to the 20 and the 50 moving average, which also coincides with a really strong level of support. You can see these highs here, we're forming a role reversal. And then, of course, we see the mini breakout of the higher high, higher low sequence off the cross of the 20 and the 50 moving average, and then it broke through. So a lot of momentum was building up here, so no real surprise to see it do that. Again, if you go to the smaller time frames, you're going to see all of that play out in real time. Lots of opportunities to actually join in on that move up. You can see right through pullbacks to the 20 moving average all the way up. So really, really good trading. Even on the 1 hour, you can see really good pullbacks. Okay, so it was all the things we talk about each week make that really, really easy to trade. So hopefully you're able to get some of that. I know some of you did. Look, where to from here? More than likely the 140 would be the target I'd be aiming for. The previous highs here, I'll pop a horizontal line. The previous high there and the support level over there will more than likely be the target for it now. And we're going to try and keep a really close eye on it. I would be looking for pullbacks to the smaller time frames to take advantage of that and continue the momentum all the way up to basically another 140 points through. If it does reverse and give us a little bit of support around this level here, that's not the end of the world either. And that could present a couple of good trading opportunities. But I wouldn't be looking at any shorts on the US dollar CAD right now, because that looks very, very strong. We'll have a quick look at the dollar index, and look, this one is also looking at trying to break out. It's been a relatively good week, not a massive week of movement, but effectively in the grand scheme of what it's done over the last week or two, it has been pretty good. And we've seen a break now, a close above the 20 and the 50 moving average, which is obviously very important. We know we've got very strong headwind here at that 99 level. A break of that 99 level would see a very, very good momentum shift from what was effectively a negative move into a complete reversal. If we go to a smaller time frame, like a 4 hour, you'll see that we are already cycling higher high, higher lows in the 4 hour sequence. We know that trends always start from the smaller time frames anyway, so we're already seeing that. We've got headwind right here. Okay, so this is the area that we have to be mindful of. Once we break through that level there, if we get through there, then we're looking at that 150 level as the next target. It's a pretty big target after that. I think that's what makes this trade so attractive. Well, obviously the short on the euro is the more than likely the trade you'll take, but what we're looking for really is a break of this level, because then we've got really good opportunities all the way up to the 150 zone, which is where this red line is right now, and that spells some really good shorting opportunities on the euro if we get that in place. I wouldn't be looking at shorting this one right now either. I think there's just a little bit too momentum built up, too much upward momentum built up, that I would want to try and fight that. So pretty happy to just look at the long opportunities on this one and let it play out, because I think they've got some really good setups coming up, especially with so much airtime up here. We've had a lot of very heavy resistance in its place. All right, we'll move on over to the US 500 now, and we can see that we've had a relatively solid week of selling. Actually, all 5 days have been negative. We had a big pickup yesterday. We had effectively a hammer candle pull up from an important zone, but today really gave back a lot of those, that reversal. Had it closed all the way down and given us a long range bearish candle, it would have been relatively negative, but today it did pick up quite a bit yesterday, but in today's session, we can see that a lot of it was given back. So really a very, very important area now for this S&P 500, because if we get a break past this zone, and it is a strong zone, there's no question about that. We saw, effectively 5 candles in a row here, 6 or 7 actually, if you count the opens and the closes of the 2 surrounding candles, where this level was interacted with. It's a line in the sand level, the 63.50. If we get a break below there, I'll put a horizontal line there actually. So if we see a break below this level here, then we're going to be really starting to target that 62.50 and also that 62.30 zone, which is the area down here where all of this support is. That is the next level for this one. So be very, very mindful of that. If we see a close below that 63.50, our next targeted zone for the short would be around that sort of 62.40 to 62.50 level. Really, really good trading on the S&P. Like I say, it could turn around from here. This is a level of support. There's no question about that. And if it gets trading above that 20 moving average again, so if we're here on Monday and the daily closes above the 20 moving average and it starts to sequence higher high, higher low, then we'll just look for the previous highs as a target for the long. But if we're looking below there and the daily closes actually below, especially in the session prior to the weekend, then we're going to start targeting a bigger move next week down to around that sort of 62.70. So pretty straightforward trading, really. We're looking at that 62.20 to 50 area on the bottom side, and also the 90 to 65 area on the upside if we get a big move early in the week. But realistically, happy to play both sides. I think there's opportunities on both of those sides there. Pretty good trading. All right, we'll go over to Bitcoin. Actually is the next one we'll have a look at. Bitcoin had a very, very big and interesting week. You can see that we obviously sold off quite significantly, from that sort of 117 area that we were at last week. Big fall. Tried to pull it up, but in this session, it basically decimated all of those gains from the previous session. And now sitting right at our target of 112,000, which is what we talked about the other day. It's a very, very strong target for Bitcoin. A lot of money is sitting here, and the consolidation area may or may not hold up. A break of this zone could see a significant fall back down to that sort of 106 area. I know it looks like an extreme move, but the reality is it's already done that over the last 6 days, and realistically, you could see it easily fall through that level. The 20 and the 50 moving average are starting to pull into themselves now, and you can see that if that happens to cross, it hasn't crossed in a very, very long time. As you can see, the last time it crossed, price was at 93,000, and realistically, a few more weekdays, another week of not even minimal movement, will see that cross happen. So we want to watch this careful space here at 112,000. If it finds support here and it starts to go long from this area, the target's going to be around that 116,500. That would be the target for the long zone. But if a daily closes below the 112, I would be starting to target some of these lows. We've got a little bit of support here at 109,800, but realistically, the bigger move would be down to around that sort of 106,800. That's the area that I think would be most likely to find the next very heavy support. It's going to be a very, very interesting period. Just watch this space with a lot of care, because if we do bounce from this level, I think there's a decent opportunity for 400 up. But if we do fall over at this level here, then the 106,800 is more than likely the target. So pretty good trading on Bitcoin as well, both this week and upcoming. I hope everyone's had a great week's trading. We've seen some good opportunities again. A lot of our key levels have been holding up really well. So hopefully you were able to take advantage of some of those. Have a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.